Hey there, everybody. Purpose of this video is to get you through this last little bit of the first logic project, where we kind of extend our look at basic logic operators. Already we've looked at the if P then Q case and the if and only if P then Q case, and we used the example of my friend and her dad and his offer to buy her a car. You know, if you get straight A's, then I'll get you a car thing. And those are great. We're going to continue the if case in the next project, but there are other logical operators besides if and also if and only if. And what we'll do in this is we'll show you how Excel computes them, and also give you an example of how they're useful. I use them quite a bit when I write code for you all. The crap simulator that we'll play with in Math 105 uses both the what are called the and the or commands. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through each of those in turn, and then I'm going to have you, based on the results, answer the last couple questions on the project. So we'll have you first open up Excel, just a blank old Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to start putting this thing together to look like a truth table. So a truth table, we're going to use two variables, P and Q. Okay, I'm going to center everything because I'm me. I'm going to bold it because I'm me. I'm also going to zoom in. Now P and Q, remember, are just statements. They're variables, P and Q, but they stand for words. So in the colleague example, P was you get straight A's. Q was I'll buy you a car. So true or false, right? And then what we did with truth tables was we looked at all the possible values. So in the project, we actually typed T's and F's, but in Excel, what I want you to do is actually type the words. Start by typing true and true, and you'll notice that even if you type them lowercase, they pop up uppercase. And the reason for that is that Excel doesn't use the words true and false as just words. They actually have mathematical meaning. So they cue Excel to do certain things. So I'm going to finish this truth table by putting the other, spell it correctly, false, true, and false, false. Okay, so this is how our truth tables started looking. Here, I'll scroll this over a little bit and get it more centered. On the project, I can underline these if you want me to. Nah, let's not underline them. Okay, so for the you don't have to do this. I'm going to type if P then Q case. Okay. We discussed and decided, and I hope made clear, that these here went true, false, true, and true. That was the kind of the point of the first part of the project, was to make sure that we kind of understood why this one was false and the rest were true. At the end, right before you got to this video probably, when you looked at if and only if P then Q, okay, let me make some room for that one. We then discussed why it was true, false, false, and then true. So the only change happened right here, and hopefully that made that last little bit of discussion we had made sense to you. Hopefully it made sense, because if and only if is a much more stringent condition than just if. And remember, I'm speaking logically, not necessarily conversationally. So these were the two that we looked at verbally, so to speak. There is no command. There is an if command in Excel, but it operates differently, and there is no if and only if command. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bump these over by inserting columns. The way you do that, if you've done this and want to bump them over, you simply click where you want the column to be, highlight the column, right click, and then hit insert, and then you just keep hitting insert. I'm going to bump it over 3 times and push it over here to the side here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to learn 3 other commands, 3 other logical operators. The first one I want to look at is called AND, P and Q. Okay, I'll put a period after that because technically speaking, it's a sentence. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to let Excel give us the truth table for this, and then later I'm going to ask you questions about the truth table. So let's start by having Excel do the truth table. Start by typing an equal sign, then type and, left parentheses, and then highlight the values that you want to apply the and to. In this case, it's G9 and H9. Close parentheses and press enter. Notice that when P is true and Q is true, P and Q is true. And then what you can do is just double click on this and it'll drag the truth values down with a relative reference, looking at the true, false, false, true, and false, false. So notice for P and Q, when P and Q are both, well, we're not going to stop there. Okay. So these are the truth table values for the AND command. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for now. The next column is going to be OR, P or Q. Okay, now hopefully you're going to see where this is going. It's equals OR, and then select the two trues over here. Don't select this puppy dog here. This is the beginning of the truth table over here. We're going to compare P and Q, and we're only going to be looking at these two over here. Okay, and then drag that puppy dog down. So now this is the truth table, the rightmost column, for the beginnings here. Hopefully that makes sense. The last one I want to look at is P XOR. This is exclusive OR Q. Now this one, it's a little bit, it's a weird one to understand, and we're going to have you analyze this once you see the results. But it means exclusive OR. Exclusive OR. Now here's how it's equals XOR, left parentheses, and you guessed it, select those, close them off, drag it down. Now what I want to do is I want to focus, I'm going to delete these, we don't really need them anymore. We're going to focus on just these three columns right here. I'm going to color code them so they kind of pop out a little bit. Light green, slightly darker green, and then a little bit darker green even. Okay, that's too dark. Okay, so each of these operators, and, or, and exclusive or, I'm not sure why I didn't capitalize those, I apologize. Exclusive or. Each of those operators takes the two input variables and then assigns an output variable when you combine them using it. If you play music, or if you play guitar or bass, you might use effects pedals on your bass or your guitar, which is, it's a box that you plug a guitar into, and when you activate the box, it does something to the signal of the guitar. Same thing with a microphone. When you speak into a microphone, the microphone does something to your voice. Sometimes it just amplifies it, sometimes it distorts it. These logical operators are similar in mathematical capabilities. They take the two or more, but in this case two inputs, and then do something to the two inputs, and then kick out the outputs of true and false. The last part of the project, which we're going to do here, is I'm going to have you all talk about these outputs here. After you take a screenshot of your work that you do here, you can take a screenshot and drop it into your project. And I'm going to ask you questions about these, what I call the right-hand sides of the truth table. So every truth table starts with P and Q and the truth values, and these would be the right-hand sides of each truth table. Okay, so now that you've done that, I want to have you take a screenshot of this, drop it into your document, which I'll ask for, and then I'll ask you some questions, and then the project's in the bag. All right, see you later.